Hey, so today I'm going to show you how I transformed Rocksteady from Mutant Mayhem, because the figure, well, he looks funny with no neck and no chest, so I figure I'm going to try and make that look better. And I don't want to go too far or make him too big because he's still short and weird looking in the movie, but I think I'm going to raise up his head at least so he has a chest, and then give him some muscles so it's like he has a neck but it's short and it's covered by muscles. That's what I'm gonna go for. I have my cordless Dremel here and I sand off, because he's smiling, I don't want that, so I sanded that off. And the top of his head, since I'm gonna raise it, I wanna shave some of it off and I'm gonna blend it into his back after. And then the way he's put together, he's got like a separate piece on the back, so that's partially hollow. So he still has water from when I soaked him in hot water to take him apart. That'll happen by using water, but it's my favorite for taking things apart, even though it keeps dripping. Even after I'm painting, it'll drip from between his legs and slow down the arm. I think I'm getting paint on me, but it's just water. Anyway, I have some just EVA foam from some cheap foam floor mats, and I build up where his chest is gonna be, and I'm gonna make his chest out of Apoxie Sculpt. So I'd already mixed the two parts together, and I get two balls about the same size before I put one on each side, and then give him a new, like a straight mouth instead of a smiling mouth, and then make his cheeks pop out even more than they were before. Then I get a big flat piece and I go over the chest, all the places that I filled with foam earlier, and then I want to give him a chest and make his belly a little bigger and a little bigger underneath where that bullet belt is. Then he's ready. I glue his head down into place and leave that for like 30 seconds, a minute, and then I start to fill in any empty space and also the crack in his head where there was two pieces stuck together. And I try to, just using a silicone tool, add some folds and like detail to it, bumps, and like he's got a lot of skin, like a rhino, I guess. And then keep adding to fill any little gaps. That's kind of what I'm going for, where he looks mean and big and formidable. So now I'm covering everything with the matte acrylic varnish, because I'm the Apoxie Sculpt pretty close to the gray he was, but I want to get everything ready because it's going to get painted, and the varnish works as my primer to help the like cheap dollar store acrylics that I use stick to the plastic. And so I have a gray I made from a previous video. It's just black and white, and I think there's some white acrylic varnish, not varnish, primer in there as well from the last project, so that makes it stick even better in just one coat. And yeah, covered all the gray areas, and it was a lighter gray, but I'm gonna make it darker in a bit. First, I'm gonna do his pants, so I put some cinnamon brown and burnt umber, and I didn't mix them, but I'm just kind of mixing them a little of each as I'm painting to add some color variations and some gradient. And I'm covering up. He had a lot of black spots because he's the battle damaged version of Rocksteady that came in the 2-packs. He came with Raph. I already painted Raph to be black and white with his other brothers. And this is a color I had from like when I did the pizza for the regular ones that I painted and customized. Well, just painted pretty much. I have some of that brown now going on the butt of the gun, but his big nose and rhino horn kind of blocks the gun there, unfortunately, but it happens when you have a nose that big. So now you can't really see it, but I'm going in with daffodil yellow, just covering the whites in his eyes. Then I get a bright red, and I'm just covering the bottom of his or the top of his bottom eyelid and the corners of his eyes a bit with red, so he looks a little more angry. But the way his eyes, I didn't repaint the pupils, they're a little like he's stoned, but that's alright, that could make your eyes red too. And now it's the little details that make the thing sometimes. He's got these bullets on his bullet belt, but they were all just black like the belt, so I just paint those silver, and I'm using a toothpick because it's almost like a pen. You just put a little bit of paint on the end, and so without bristles there's no chance of it really spreading unless you shake your hand accidentally. But then you could just cover that with black. It's easy. From that same mix of browns and yellows and whites, and I added some more yellow. So I'm just taking from the yellow part and dry brushing some brighter yellow over the dark, like beige color I covered his shirt in. So on the raised spots, I'm adding a bunch of yellow so it'll look like, I don't know, sweat marks, and just darker because it's folds and there's less light getting there. And I had sanded off his, like, it said Playmates or Made in China or whatever, so I painted over that as well. And now I dry brush a little bit of that light color over his pants to make all the details pop out there. And like the raised edges are getting more light, or they're just a little more worn down. Now I'm covering everything with the matte acrylic varnish again, because one sec. It's gonna seal everything up that I just painted and get it ready, because I'm gonna give them a wash. I went light because now I'm gonna make them darker with the black wash. So it's the same wash I use all the time, and it was getting a little thick, so I added some more water to make it more watery. And I put it on, it just goes in the cracks. And I'm gonna leave that for a bit so it'll dry in the little details and stuff. And while I'm waiting for the gun to dry, I cover him with the same black acrylic wash. Yeah, that's it. I already said it, so I don't have to say it again. But yeah, just covering everything, trying to get in all the details so that, you know, they stand out more and you can see them. And then I should wait for this to fully dry before I turn him over and start doing the front, but I only waited like a minute. So his back is not going to look as good as the front, but you're going to see the front a lot more often. So that's why I have him on his back, so it'll stay in all those cracks and gaps and dry. And even where it's not a lot, it made him a little darker, and some spots where there's like none, it's lighter, and he looks more like he's pretty dirty and lots of different colors in the movie. That was one picture with a lot of light. Most of the movie is a lot of dark. Now I have the silver again, and I forgot to do his arm bracelet. Yeah, it's a very mean looking bracelet with all those studs on it. And then I dry brush his gun, and that really makes everything pop out with the black and the details, and then the shiny silver on all the edges. Now to color his hair on his arms, I use just a fine liner marker to add the black to that. Now he's done. I mean, I added at least ½ an inch. He's the same size as the 1985, maybe even a little bit taller, but now I think he looks a lot better. He still looks like he did in the movie, but he's not such a bad, funny looking toy. But I guess the toy is made for kids, it's not made for me, but I think I made it better. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, remember, always keep your head up. Peace.